Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It's me, your girl Britt Reacts, and we're reacting to a highly requested channel called Chat History. This video is entitled Truly Evil Human Experiments That Actually Happened. Let us pray.
You are now tuned into Britt Reacts.
I'm truly convinced that y'all don't even care about learning with me or watching me learn. You just want to watch me squirm, because what even is the title of this video?
Evil Human Experiments. All right, fellas, let's start things off
Oh, right into it. No, okay, no introduction. Okay, all right.
All right, fellas, let's start things off a little easy. Back in the 4th century BC, Greek civilization was reaching new heights. People were getting more and more curious about the world around us and began asking really important questions. What does that do? How does that work? Should I do a Did I leave the oven on? How do magnets work? Will she call me back? Is this real life? Or is this just fake? Did they really fry the rice? Or not? All pretty valid questions for people just wishing to learn the workings of the natural world. While many focus on the mechanics of the universe, others chose to focus on the inner workings of humans themselves.
Choose one
and
finger?
not only from a philosophical standpoint. Sometimes you just want to know what makes us tick. That's what Greek physician Herophilus wanted to find out and document in detail. After getting his education at the Hippocratean medical school in Greece, Herophilus turned his bulging eyes towards the city of Alexandria, Egypt, with its big, throbbing library chock full of scrolls.
Why is it throbbing? Why is it throbbing? Why is it doing that? Stop doing that.
Of Alexandria, Egypt, with its big, throbbing library chock full of scrolls just
so
begging to be
uncomfortable.
read. Time to go to Egypt, he said. And so he did. Doot. After
Begging
getting
to be
himself
read?
established and taking on a student, a young physician named Erasistratus, they got to work. Together, the
Why
two
are their
men would
eyes
begin
so
to
far
carve out
apart?
a new branch of science, anatomy. But in order to do so, you need some bodies to cut open to start slopping their guts around. And what better way to obtain fresh bodies than to use condemned criminals, captured and supplied by the Alexandrian rulers. Little Hero and Era were like kids in a candy store with a hopeful glimmer in their eyes, excited to begin their wondrous experiments. But surely the criminals put under the knife were already past their expiration date, right? Nope. Instead, Hero and Era performed live human dissections, called vivisections, to broaden their understanding of the human body. They even went as far as to perform these surgeries in full view of the public for anyone who thought it would be cool and interesting. Wow, that's both cool and interesting. That's what I'm saying.
First of all, the nerve of you to illustrate his one nipple hanging out. Second of all, why are their eyes so far apart? And third of all, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's a story I've heard about a young black female. I don't know if she was a slave or not, and I don't know her name, but medical people used her as kind of like the same thing. This is horrific. Oh, this is so, oh no, guys. So what you get me
Herophilus
into?
documented their findings in
Sharpie?
extreme detail, making breakthrough discoveries of the human anatomy. In doing so, he inflicted
At what
unimaginable
cost?
suffering to his subjects. Since anesthetics weren't really a thing back then, the victims felt
Look at her.
every cut and slice, at least until they passed out from the pain or died of blood loss. Dissecting intestines, reproductive organs, eyes, or even purposefully damaging the motor nerves to inflict paralysis. It was basically a big game of, what does this button do?
Operation. I was just talking to my friend about that game the other day. We were making a joke and we were talking about how bad we used to be. Y'all remember that game, Operation, where you have to take the tweezers and it'd like buzz if you touch the sides of the... It's the same thing. And now that I think back on it, that also was inhumane and terrible.
In the end, Hero and Era's findings over 40 years of vivisections were revolutionary for the medical world.
I'm sure they were.
Especially since human dissection would be outlawed shortly after their work was completed. It wouldn't be until 1800 years later that performing human dissections would be a medically acceptable practice again. But like, you know, on dead people? Their work was stored in the renowned Library of Alexandria, but they were lost in the Great Fire a few hundred years later.
Oh, those people went through all that pain in vain. I didn't mean to rhyme, but you know, that's what happens when you just have bars. My hair is tied up in this. Okay. I'm gonna take a break and we're gonna shout out our sponsors for today, Informed Elect, because I need a mental health break. This just stressed me out. All right, so on to them. Hey y'all, I'm back to tell you more about my favorite civic engagement app, Informed Elect. And this time we're going to talk all about petitions. Every moment starts with a spark. Every campaign starts with a petition. With the petitions feature, you can bring attention to the causes you care about most and take the very first steps toward real change. Petitions unite voices, amplify concerns, and put pressure on leaders. But they also do something even bigger. Petitions are how you get on the ballot. If you've ever thought about running for office, it all begins here, with signatures, with support, with your community standing behind you. If you have it in you to lead, to represent, to change things where you live, don't wait. The app is here to guide you step by step, making the process seamless and accessible. Real change doesn't wait, and neither should you. Create awareness, drive initiatives, launch your own campaign. Your journey starts with a petition. Your journey starts with Informed Elect. All right, thank you again to Informed Elect. You guys go download that app. It is really phenomenal. I'm not even kidding. All right, this one says Sacrificial, the Binding of Isaac.
Project 4.1 was actually a side project proposed immediately after the deployment of Castle Bravo, a high-yield thermonuclear bomb that was dropped in 1954 by the United States. Bravo was part of Operation Castle, a series of other high-yield nuclear tests with the goal of establishing superiority over the Soviet Union. The Marshall Islands, a remote Pacific group of islands, served as ground zero for the detonation of the nuclear weapons. Castle Bravo was the strongest detonation and surprisingly produced 2.5 times the expected explosive yield, resulting in an explosive force equivalent to 15 megatons of TNT. To put that into perspective, that is 1,000 times the explosive force of the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan in the final days of World War II. Like, goddamn.
Right.
To make matters worse, the Marshall Islands were occupied with citizens. So US officials were kind of like...
No.
Like, sir, shouldn't we get those people out of the... Bless you. Thanks, sir. Allergies have been bothering me all day. Must be the radiation, right?
Same.
No, but seriously, are we gonna get those people out of the radiation zone? Yeah, you know, that was on my to-do list. Well, yeah, you know, that was on my to-do list.
Wake up, eat breakfast, work out, stare at the ceiling, get natives off island. He skipped over and went to detonate Bravo, and then stare at it a lot and subscribe. I love the similarity of this channel with the humor to that of Oversimplified. I don't know what it is about humor that helps me learn, but I love this. And I just wish more teachers would implement fun and laughter into learning because it does something for the brain. Absolutely. Like, I am more locked in than I ever was as a student. I'm telling you right now.
Well, too late now, so let's just see how things turn out.
They are pink.
Operation Castle was quickly amended with the addition of Project 4.1. This new section aimed to study the human response to significant radiation exposure. You know, as if tens of thousands of victims in Hiroshima and Nagasaki weren't evidence enough. Commander of the U.S. Naval Medical Corps, Eugene Cronkite, was in charge of the project and swore everyone involved to absolute secrecy because he thought the public wouldn't be too keen on the whole test nuclear radiation on non-consenting people thing. Overall, 239 Marshallese residents were exposed to significant levels of radiation and began showing signs of radiation poisoning a few days later. Symptoms included loss of hair and significant skin damage with weeping wounds, although the wounds did heal rather quickly. Immediate observations ceased after 75 days with the conclusion that no long-term effects were likely. But just out of curiosity, regular checkups were performed on the residents for years after. Women saw increases in miscarriages and stillbirths, and newborns that survived experienced developmental difficulties, impaired growth, and a disproportionate development of thyroid cancer. In addition, about 1/3 of those exposed had developed significant tumors by 1974, 20 years after Operation Castle commenced. In the following years, Marshallese representatives spoke out against the United States with accusations that the scope of the experiment was premeditated and intentional,
Yeah,
to
they
which the
probably
U.S.
should've.
officials responded, nuh-uh.
Chimera? I thought we were
During
all
the
dead.
early years of the Soviet Union, it wouldn't be uncommon for political opponents to quickly fall ill with a strong case of the death at the hands of poison. In
death?
fact, it was quite an effective and discreet way to silence any and all opposition without causing too much of a stir. Well, besides the public reacting to mysterious deaths. And that is why we must rise up against... Oh, look at that. They got another one. So how were the Soviets so good at developing successful poisons? Well, you've got to run preliminary. How were the Soviets
Make a the poison? Why would he write that? And why did I say it in that accent? I'm sorry. I apologize. Immediately regretted it.
so good at developing successful poisons? Well, you've got to run preliminary trials on living subjects, of course. So in
Dang it.
1921, a year before the Soviet Union officially formed, the Kamera was established. This was the Soviet Secret Service's poison laboratory. Here, new deadly poisons were developed and tested on human subjects. Those tested were prisoners from the gulags, various labor camps built around the country for anyone who even had a fleeting thought that wasn't various labor
Look at how many of these gulags there were. Look how many. Look at this. Majority of the country is covered in it.
camps built around the country for anyone who even had a fleeting thought that wasn't approved by the Soviet Union. Carry on. The ultimate goal of the Kamera was to devise a poison that was not only lethal, but undetectable. It would be colorless, tasteless, odorless, and untraceable in an autopsy.
Illegal. Call the police.
Prisoners would be unknowingly administered various test poisons, which were disguised as medication. For me, if it isn't an orange Flintstone vitamin, I don't trust it.
Period.
The various poisons tested.
I saw a video not too long ago saying like all of us millennials that used to take Flintstone vitamins, look at us now. And I'm like, I was one of them. I used to like, as nasty and like chalky as they were, I lived for them every day. Every day.
Tested included ricin, which causes severe internal distress and suffering, cyanide, which can cause violent seizures and heart attacks, and curare, a potent muscle relaxant that makes you painfully choke to death. In the end, the tests were pretty successful.
Look at-
For the Soviet Union, not for the prisoners. Research led to innovative ways to discreetly dispatch a target, from deploying a cyanide mist to making an assassination look like a heart attack. But the blue ribbon winner was the concoction known as C2, carbolamine choline chloride.
Guys, my husband's calling me. Ooh, I'll be right back. Hang tight, okay? This is... All right, y'all, I'm back. Sorry, listen, my husband calls, I gotta answer, all right? I'm just saying, it was important. I've decided, this video is a lot, and I don't even know if y'all want to see me react to it. So if enough of you tell me to do part 2, I will come back and finish this video. Sometimes I think it's better that way when I'm watching a new channel to even decide if we're all, like, do we all care enough? I respect what you guys say and want to watch me react to, so let's do that, and I'll see you in the next one. Again, thank you to our sponsors today, Informed Elect. I hope everyone has a brilliant weekend. Go and have the day you deserve. Bye.